Good evening, everyone. This is Thor from Hellheim's Toy Shop. So, in my past video, I asked you guys what color hilt you want. So, I'm going to do a video as requested on my hilting process. I'm going to use the black and red as was requested. And this is going to be a couple video process to show you guys and kind of give you an insight of how I do it so that you guys could possibly do it in the future yourselves. So, first and foremost, we're going to tape this up, get it level, tape it. I use just regular painter's tape. Get this lined up here as good as best as you can. You want them to be even. Mind you, this is my process. Other people have different processes. If it works, it works. But this is what works for me. Do a couple rounds around there. Couple more here. All right. Put that out of the way. Sorry about the mess. Ignore it. I've been doing a lot of work, a lot of different projects. All right. So now you see I have that taped up. All right, now let's move on to the next step. So here I'm going to take my knife, line that up on my knife. All right. Let's see, that looks pretty good right about there. Now I'm going to set my first hole. That's not where I wanted that. So set your first hole. Go slow. Back up a little bit more. I'm going through the second layer now. All right, I punched through. Move that out of the way for the time being. Again, I have a lot of projects going on, so bear with it. Bear with me, I should say. I'm sorry. All right, now you have your first hole set. Gonna give it a little, just ream it out just a hair. Both sides. You want your pin stock to slide in easily, but still be tight enough that it holds its position. Clean that up a little bit more. All right, let's take one of my pins. I'm currently using 3/16 pin for my pin stock. All right, I got to give it a little bit more to make sure it goes in there. Both sides. Grab your pin stock. Get it in there. All right, that's now in. As you can see, take your knife and put it through that hole so it's nice and lined up. All right, as you can see, it's lined up. Now you want to get your next hole in line, which should be, so I usually do my pinhole closest to the edge, your choil and everything. I do that one first. That way it sits where I want my blade. Now I'm going to do the back one Let me turn that a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Let me shut off this light so you can see better. Where's the switch? You know what? Let me just back that out of the way so you can see better. I forgot where the switch is on this thing for the light. There it is. There. All right. So now I'm going to do the back hole. That's towards your pommel. Let me realign here. Also, be careful because your knife is sharpened at this point, or at least mine are. There we go. Get this all the way through. All right, that's through. Now, like I said, put that over here out of the way. I like to ream these out a little bit, just so that my pin stock fits easily. Clean that up a little bit. You don't need to go too aggressive. You just want to give it a little bit of a tap here and there, just so that your pin stock goes in easy. That's good, right about there. And remember, that is your back one. Shut this off. All right, so line this up. You know, remember which is your top, which is your bottom. Makes it a lot easier on you. All right, give that a little tap here. Make sure that's seated. All right, so now that we have that lined up, I do have a third hole in the middle, which I'll drill out now. Now that that's all lined up, you can line up that third hole quite easily. Drill that out. And right now I'm using G10. When you use G10, you really should be wearing a mask. I'm not wearing a mask so that I can show you what I'm doing right now. And you can hear what I say. All right. Now punch this all the way through. I know I'm not really in the frame, but it's hard to keep myself and the tool in frame. All right. Now we got that third hole. Take my knife, get out of the way. Preferably don't put it in your leather dye. I ended up dyeing my hand a little bit. Don't do that. All right. Let me just ream this out a little bit. Now from here, where'd my knife go? Remember which one is your bolster and which one's your pommel. So that when you put it on, it lines up how you're supposed to. It still lines up. Now from here, what I do, if I can find a marker, I can't find a marker. Ah, here we go. All right. Now I take myself a Sharpie. and I trace all along the edge of my tang. I get right up into the troil, or not the troil, the bolster here. Trace it all the way around. All right. This over here, out of the way. So now that's traced out. All right. Now, that's it for this video. That's the first step. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Anybody can do it. All right. Well, that's it for this video. I'll show you in the next video how I go about shaping this. All right. Well, this has been Thor from Helheim's Toy Shop. You all have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great night.